Hey, it's Don Skaggs with Empowered Inventing, the one place where we try to help you help other people by taking your great innovation, the right opportunity, mixing that with sound wisdom to help you turn them into real things like products and businesses. Now today, I want to talk to you about the story of Richard Montanez. And this is the guy that if you've not heard his story, it's a really, really cool story because he went from cleaning toilets to one of the most respected executives in the food industry. He had a 4th grade education. He got a job as a janitor in Frito-Lay. But guess what? He decided that he was going to learn as much as he could and do as good a job as he could because he was really, really wanting to make it. He was wanting to have a dream. And he learned as much as he could about the products at Frito-Lay. And he listened to this or watched this video that the CEO had put out at the time. And there was something that CEO said to all the employees in this video. He said, I want everyone to act like an owner. And by the way, if you're a business person, I think it's good to do. I think it's a good philosophy. I think you ought to try to get your employees all to act like owners. The more entrepreneurial they are, the better they'll do. And the story of Richard Montanez is very, very reflective of that principle. Because he took this to heart. So he was learning everything he could about the products, and he tagged along with a salesman to learn the process, learn more about the products, learn more about what was out there. And by the way, if you can ever do a ride-along with a salesman in an industry you're trying to learn, that can be some of the most valuable. I got to live on both sides of the sentence. I got to do marketing and sales, but I also got to do product development in my business. And I'm telling you, being out there in the field, that's your best R&D. That's your best places to find stuff out. And that's where Richard Montanez found out. And by the way, Richard, if I'm butchering your name, I apologize up front. I am awful at pronouncing names. So anyway, so he was going around with a salesman, and he saw on the shelf they had their plain chips, and these were in the Latino neighborhoods that he knew. And he said in these neighborhoods, there they had the plain Frito corn chips and all that kind of stuff. And right next to that, in the shelf, was also just this spicy Mexican spices, Latino spices, Mexican spices, I guess you call them. And so he found that, and he had a thought. He had one of those aha moments he said, okay, so these people are going in here, and they're buying these plain chips, and they're getting these spices. They're probably putting the spices on there. They like the spices, they like the chips. What could we do with that? And he came up with what became Flaming Hot Cheetos. And you can get them in big bags and small bags. I got two as props to show you today. So anyway, so now they weren't this yet though. This was just an idea in his head. The things I'm holding up today that are actually now some of the top selling Cheetos out there. So now this is a little bit of a story of an entrepreneur, because he was working in a business, but this so applies to inventors and entrepreneurs in so many different ways. And it's such a great story. So he realized that they didn't have anything hot or spicy. So guess what? He went home and took chips, and he took chili and experimented with chili on Cheetos. And so then he didn't know any. He says this in his story. He says, "I didn't know any better that you weren't supposed to call the CEO, so I picked up the phone and called the CEO," which I think is just a great part of this story. So he called the CEO, and the CEO said, "So are you the VP of the production plant?" "No." "Are you maybe you're a VP of sales?" "No." "Are you," and he just kept going down the line. He said, "No, I'm the janitor." He said, "But I've got this great idea." And guess what? The CEO set up a meeting and said, "And I want you to do a presentation." So there were other people in that place told him that, he said, who do you think you are? He said, you're going to do this presentation. And really the other ones, they kind of wanted him to fail because they were being paid big bucks to, and you hate to see this, and especially in larger companies where it just gets all political and people do things out of fear. And it's like, you're just the janitor, you shouldn't be doing this. And you know, that's just what really gets to me in some of these things. And this, I guess this is why I like small business, why I like inventors and entrepreneurs, because it gives all of us this level playing field if we know how to do it right. So anyway, they were acting like, well, you just got lucky to get this meeting, and you know, you're going to fail, and who do you think you are doing this? And because they were the ones that thought they were paid to come up with new product ideas and not the janitor. But he did the presentation, and he'd actually made up some sample bags, and they decided to test it in some markets. And long story short, Flaming Hot Cheetos became one of the most successful product launches in Frito-Lay history. And I just think that's great because it came from that janitor that normally, if you'd listened to these naysayers, would have just not tried. So what does this story tell us? Well, several really good lessons here. Number one is, don't let your beginnings get in the way. Oh, well, I've never done this before. I couldn't be an inventor. I couldn't be an entrepreneur. I'm just this. I'm just a janitor. I'm just a lay person. No. Don't let those things get in the way. Most inventors and entrepreneurs come from especially the ones that are successful, come from humble beginnings. They don't have that silver spoon mentality, and that's what really makes them a lot of times successful. Sometimes that's part of your secret sauce. Another thing is, he immersed himself in the products in the market. He was trying to learn everything he could get his hands on about the products and what in the market. He went with that salesman, that ride along, which again I think was just great. If you can ever pull that off, that is a wonderful way to learn a marketplace. And he was watchful of what was out there. But more than that, he was watchful for what was not out there. He saw the holes in the marketplace. Another thing, you know what? You can pick up the phone, and nowadays we have, because this was back before email and internet, you know, you can pick up the phone and call anybody. I've done it. I picked up the phone and talked to CEOs, and that was when you would have thought I had no business picking up the phone and calling a CEO of a large company, but I've done it. What's the worst thing they're going to do? They're going to tell you no. They're going to slam the phone in your ear. And now it's email. It's LinkedIn. We have all these great tools, but don't be intimidated and don't let that hold you back, because you can reach out to anybody. Sometimes you have to go about it the right way, but don't let, I can't do that because I'm not at that level. Don't let that hold you back. Don't let what others say hold you back as well. Trust the data. Trust, I'm doing this and I'm seeing these results for it. Don't trust what somebody's going to say, especially these people that's never done it before. You know, usually those are the ones that end up saying, oh, well, you can't do that because this, and that. I see it all the time, and it's sad to watch. And sometimes it's jealousy, sometimes it's just, they just honestly think that there's just no way you can get ahead with anything, and they're always looking for reasons you can't do something. So don't be that way. Learn don't let what others say hold you back. And don't let the naysayers hold you back. If you don't know how to do something, now Richard Montanez, he did not know how to do a presentation. He was telling the story. He had to buy a tie, and he was all nervous, and he had these, this was back in the day of transparencies before there was PowerPoints, and he had all these things made up, and he really didn't feel like he went to the library and got books about doing a business presentation. But you see, He didn't know how to do something, but he learned how to do it, and he prepared himself to do it. And that's very important for inventors. You have to learn. 3 things you put in an invention: time, money, and wisdom. Most important of that is wisdom. So you can learn this stuff. Lastly, don't let fear drive your decisions moving forward. If Richard Montanez had let fear hold him back, if he'd have let fear, some of what those people said, or just fear of his beginnings, this would not exist today. So just think about that, and know that there are things that don't exist yet that could come from you, that you could make, that you could build, that you could turn into a product or a business by not letting fear drive your decisions moving forward. Anyway, I hope this is helpful. I'm Don Skaggs. This is Empowered Inventing TV. Be sure and like and subscribe. Share this with someone you think it might help. If you're looking for more information, our website is empoweredinventing.com, and I will look to see you at the next meeting, workshop, maybe one of our online classes, or on the next video.